Hello. Today I'm just going to do a quick test of each of these 5 double-sided tape products. Lately I've been encountering more and more parts on PCs or notebooks, especially laptop computers, that are using double-sided tape to hold things together rather than screws. So I'm trying to find a replacement that closely approximates what the manufacturer used. Namely, manufacturers are using double-sided tape that is easy to remove. Tape that is, when you stretch it, it releases. So I want to just test some of these on some dead parts that I have. So what I'm going to do, I'll go through each of these. I'll show you what they are, the product page on Amazon or eBay or wherever I got the part from. And I'm going to just do a quick test. I'm just going to put a strip of it on this old dead LCD panel and maybe glue this hard drive to it and see if I can get the tape off without damaging anything. I'm going to start by giving it a clean. I've got some alcohol spray here. I'm just going to clean the surface with pure, well, 99% pure alcohol. So the surface of this hard drive isn't completely flat, and I think that's actually going to be good for my test because I want to see how much difference that makes when the two things you're mating together aren't perfectly flat. So I will start with the Kuuqa, which is this here, and I'll just show you the product page. On Amazon, these 2 rolls cost $5.99. And they are, I think, 6mm and 9mm wide. And I'm going to try the wider of the 2. I think I'll just cut off a strip here. I don't want to waste too much of this because it's not cheap. None of this is very cheap as far as tape goes. So you can't really even see, but there's a strip of tape about that long, 9mm wide from my fingertip upward. And you can see a little bit in that light. Let's just see what happens if we try to affix this hard drive onto there. While I wait, this doesn't really have much instruction. It just shows it's suitable for fabrics, paper, glass, wood, metals, plants, plastic, but it doesn't say apply pressure for any amount of time. On the front it does say easy to tear, applies in seconds, strong adhesives, long term to use. Now, what I'm curious about, so the hard drive has fastened on there quite well, and it feels sturdy. And by the way, this hard drive is dead. This LCD panel is broken, so I'm only using these because they are materials that I find in PCs that sometimes use double-sided tape. Now, what I'm also curious about is what happens if I try to remove this, because I will eventually, sometimes come across things where I need to remove the tape. So that was relatively easy to remove by twisting. It was adhered very well. I'm happy with how strong that hole was, and I'm also happy that it came off of this hard drive relatively easily, and this tape is coming off of the LCD panel relatively easily. Now it's not, I tried to pull it there to see if it was elastic, and it's not. It felt as if it's a very thin foam, so it's sort of, it's paper-like, if you know what I mean. As you pull on it, it just tore. It didn't stretch at all. So for this, I'm just going to roll it back, and it's coming off quite easily. So my only issue with this is that it's very thin. So if the surfaces that I was taping were curved or weren't flat, I think this probably wouldn't make up for that. This wouldn't make up for any difference in the surface of the material that I'm adhering. Next up is this Scotch double-sided tape. So there's the product page. This little roll, 6.3 meters of 12 millimeter wide tape, was $3.99. So I'll try some of that. Now this is on the roll. After I took the initial protective layer off, the double-sided, it's sticky on top. So both sides that are exposed to the air here are the sticky surfaces. I mean, it's quite easy to dispense, but it's almost impossible to do without touching it on your fingers. So I will adhere this again. So I can lift the LCD with the hard drive. I can lift the hard drive with the LCD. It's adhering. Yeah. It's holding quite well. Very similar to the last one. I'm going to twist it. Ooh. It didn't hold up to the twist very well at all. The previous one, the Kuuqa, really withstood my twisting much stronger than this one does. I apologize for not having any sort of instruments to measure the grip here. What I'm more interested in is just the handling of these tapes and what they're like. So now this one is a plastic tape, where the previous one, the Kuuqa, was paper-like or foam-like, but very thin. This one it feels like plastic, and as I pull on it, I can't stretch it. It's like if you were to take a piece of Scotch tape and pull on it, it's not going to give. It's peeling off quite easily, actually a little bit too easily. I don't have a lot of confidence in this tape. It's quite easy to work with, but I don't feel great about it. And because you have to put your fingers on it in order to lay it down, I don't think I would use this tape for anything critical like bonding the LCD panel onto a laptop lid. This is a new one I haven't used yet. So this is 3M removable mounting tape, 19 millimeters. It's a 5 meter long roll, and this was very expensive. This was £17.47. I bought this because I believe this is the stretchable or elastic stretch to remove tape that I'm looking for. So we shall see. This is the main reason I'm doing this test. It looks rather thick. So it's marketed as strong removable mounting tape. It's very pliable. It's jelly-like. It looks like jelly. It feels like jelly. I'm just going to cut a chunk off and mount it onto here. That is some expensive tape. So I'm going to press this in. This is sort of what I was hoping for when I was looking for a stretchable tape or a stretch to remove tape. So now I assume there's going to be a film to remove, which is here. Rip it. There you go. It's very slippery. And now we'll bond our hard drive. I'm going to leave a little bit of that showing off the top edge so that I can have something to grip on to see if the stretch to remove feature that I'm looking for is actually there. Just applying some pressure to this. Unfortunately, the instructions are in German. It's made in the USA, imported to Germany, and then shipped to me in Northern Ireland. It doesn't really say, well, no, it does, but it's in German. 10 seconds. Okay, I've done that. I'd say it's on there quite firm. Ooh, yeah. It's very much bonded. That makes me happy. I can feel that I could twist this off, but I want to see if I could stretch it off, because that's what I really, really want. So, if this is applied to an LCD panel inside a laptop, could I get my tool underneath the edge of it and then stretch it? Yep, it's going to break. I think this is working. I might be ruining my LCD panel though. No. I'm a little bit worried that my forceps here are going to be permanently taped together. No, this is brilliant. This is working. This is exactly what I wanted. Bob's your uncle. Brilliant. So this tape here, montage band, which is really this 3M removable mounting tape, is what I was hoping for. This is the type of tape that it's double-sided, and when you stretch it parallel to the surface, then it releases. Now I have a problem. I have a large bung of double-sided tape on the end of my forceps. Let's see if I can twist that off. Yeah, it's coming off. So I'm happy. My only question is, how strong is this? I don't know, but this will be the next tape that I use likely. This will probably be the next tape that I use when I have to bond an LCD panel onto a laptop lid. Okay. The next tape came in this fancy zip top resealable bag. When I look at the inside, I see that it's Scotch brand tape. 3M products. The product page, I bought this off of eBay, and it's marketed as 5mm double-sided tape adhesive sticky rubberized mobile phone LCD touchscreen. if this is as thick as I think it is, it'll probably be a good alternative. It's rubberized exactly like it says, so it looks... Yeah, my autofocus isn't working. So it's black. This is much thinner than the clear 3M tape that I just used, but it's not as thin as the first two. So I'll just put a small bit on here. And I'm going to try the same test that I just did, where I attach it but leave a little bit visible on the end so that I can try to stretch it out, because that's what I thought with the rubberized tape. I thought that would likely be an option. So again, this one had no packaging, so obviously no instructions. But some of these, I mean, I have seen instructions that say partial bonding within seconds, good bonding within 2 hours, best bonding after 24 hours. So I'm obviously not giving these long enough to test whether, you know, their full bonding capability is to my satisfaction. But so far, all of them bond quite well. I'm giving them enough surface area where they've got, you know, enough to latch onto to hold this. You know, I'm checking that fairly vigorously. Yeah, that's quite bonded. I can feel it's rubberized. I can feel the hard drive is moving, but not a lot. So now let me try. So now let me try to get my forceps under the tape and start stretching. I guess I might not have left enough. I have to tip this up so that I can see it better. It's not working as I had hoped, and it's dirtying the end of my tweezers here. Nope. Okay, so this is not what I'd call elastic tape. Although it's rubberized, it's not staying together well enough for me to pull it and stretch it out. It's just disintegrating. It's sticking onto the forceps and coming apart. So with this, I believe if I twist it, it'll probably, yeah. And leaves a bit of a mess. There's some black residue stuck on there. I'll have to clean this. So this is, again, the Scotch sticky rubberized mobile phone LCD tape. I'm not sure I'd be comfortable using that on an LCD, on a phone. So alcohol is not touching it. That residue is very much stuck on there, and alcohol is not doing anything about it. Might give it a better shot of alcohol here. Well, that's disappointing. Just made a mess of my test. Alright, I'll use a different area. Oh. Okay, I could see this tape being a big problem. You know, messing up your work area and your tools. No, thank you. Okay, we're all dry. So the last one is the one I'm also kind of excited about. This is a Velcro brand Fix Pro mounting tape removable. This was $4.19 for this roll, which is only 2 meters long. I expect it to be quite thick. Yeah, this is quite thick, similar to the 3M clear tape that we tested earlier. So I'm only going to use a small amount of this because I don't want to waste it. Oh, you know what? I think this is clear. It's just the backing that's red. See what the instructions say on this. This is the one that says max adhesion after 24 hours. It looks very much like the 3M tape. It's a little wider. Now I'll go to an area of the drive that doesn't have the black residue on it. And I'm going to leave just about a 1/4 inch, maybe not quite a 1/4 inch, visible off the end so that I can do my stretch to remove test. Okay. It's sticking. Sticking well. It's not rotating, so I think this is the same stuff as the 3M. I'm gonna peel up the end and wrap it around my tweezers and see if I can twist to remove or stretch to remove this tape. The idea is that I'd be able to remove an LCD panel without having to pull away from it to, risk separating the plies or the component layers of the LCD. So now I'm gonna try to get my tweezers in there and stretch it. I'm afraid I didn't quite get the end. I broke it. It broke. Did it break or did I break it? Well, if this was an LCD panel that I was trying to remove, I'd be in trouble. Because when you look at, when I twist it like that, you can see the paper, this layer of the LCD panel is distressed. If I tried to rip that off, I would rip this LCD apart. Okay. Let's try harder. There's not much left to get a hold of. Just going to patiently stretch. No, it's just tearing apart. This is not the tape I was looking for. I think there's going to be no way to get this off without a knife. So I've got one of these little spatulas that I've sharpened the end of. I'm going to see. There's not even that much tape on here. I only went halfway up the drive. If this was a real working LCD panel, I wouldn't be treating it like this. There's not a chance. I'd be very worried about damaging it. No. This tape is very sticky. Take that back. So once I got an edge of it compromised, the rest of it just rolled and let go. Okay. Well, that answers those questions for me, so I'm happy. I now have a very good understanding of which tapes perform in which way. This is the tape for me. It's the tape that, this removable mounting tape. This is 5 meters of, what is it, 19 millimeters wide, stretchable, stretch to remove tape. It bonded very well and held together as I tried to stretch it to remove. So it's very much like the command strips, where when you start to pull on the end of the adhesive band, it contracts and the surface area reduces, so then it releases from the surface, which when working with LCD panels is exactly what I want. Now, this is very expensive, so on one LCD panel I would probably use almost half a meter. So this particular one would only be worth 10 LCD panels. So I'll have to factor that into my costs. But I hope you've learned something, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.